Hey friends, today I want to talk to you about being a more efficient filmmaker. I've got a big project on tomorrow. I'm shooting a music video, and the level of planning which has been involved in this particular video has been massive. And what it's really highlighted to me is the journey I've been on over the last couple of years, and how all of this planning and stuff is kind of come out of necessity in order to make me a more efficient filmmaker. So that's what we're doing today. I'm covering a few things which I have found helpful to make sure I'm organised, I'm efficient, and I get the shots that I need. So let's get into this. So yeah, efficiency as a filmmaker is not something that I ever really thought about in the early days. When I picked up a camera a couple of years ago, I would just go out with my camera, have some fun, try and find some shots. If someone asked me to do something, I would sort of turn up with my equipment and get what I could. But the more projects I've undertaken, the more I've started to realise that planning and knowing what you're going to do when you turn up at a shoot is really, really important, and it absolutely makes the difference between an average video and one that really works, really tells a story, really sells a product, or captures a moment. So yeah, so just going to cover a few things really which I've found to be really good. So first of all, creating a shot list. Now, this is not something that I really thought was that important to begin with on the shoots that I was doing, but very quickly realised that having a list of shots, even if you don't stick to it, the time that you spend creating that list just gives you a much better understanding of what you're trying to capture, what you're trying to achieve with the video. It forces you to ask questions about sort of logistics of the day and about the actual reality of what shots you're going to be able to get, and it just gives you a much clearer view. Now, there's a lot of different shot list templates available on the internet. I've done a huge amount of reading over the last couple of years and seen lots of different examples. I haven't used any templates though. The templates I've always found they're not for me. They're not specific to the project I'm doing. I tend to use like a kind of different shot list depending on the project. One of the first projects I did which really required a shot list was when I did a video to promote a sea swim, and we shot that video in March, and the water, the sea, was 8 degrees, and it was only when one of the club members for the swimming club said to me and my brother, who was the swimmer in the video, he said, look, you guys better know what you're doing, because you've only got like 15 minutes in the water, and then he's going to have to get out because it's too cold. His organs are going to start failing. So I was like, oh, okay, better get organised then. So we wrote a shot list for the drone shots I needed while he was in the water. We had another swimmer in the water with a GoPro, so we had a list of shots that I knew I wanted from the GoPro, and that situation forced me to be organised. Otherwise I probably wouldn't have been. But ever since then, since that project, and seeing how much that shot list helped, that has really sort of prompted me to try and make a shot list for every project now. No matter how simple or complicated it is, I will always try and create a shot list. Now, a shot list, it might just be a sheet of paper with some scribbles on it, a mid shot, wide shot, close up, doing this, doing that, whatever. It doesn't have to be overly complicated, or for a bigger project like this music video I'm shooting tomorrow, I've actually done various shot lists where I've actually kind of created a shot list for each location that we're going to be shooting in, and I've outlined the equipment that I'm going to be using, the different angles, the people, the props that are going to be used, so that tomorrow, when everything's really busy and my brain is full, I can just look at that shot list and I know I've got my list. I can work through that logically, helps me to stay calm. And I'm a bit of a worrier, so anything I can do to alleviate a bit of worry or a bit of late night staying up thinking things through is great. So working out shot list, definitely great. That kind of leads me on to the next thing though, as far as what's helped me to be a more efficient filmmaker, and that is storyboarding, which is kind of one step further than the shot list really. So if you are doing something creative, then creating a storyboard of just, you know, stick men, it doesn't have to be anything overly complicated, but again, it's just another way of helping to outline what you're trying to achieve. And in trying to create the storyboard, it will really highlight any gaps in what you've been thinking so far and to where you want to get to. So just simply doing some stick men and kind of working through the film that you're trying to produce is a really good and healthy process to go through. And again, like I said with the shot list, you might end up ignoring parts of it or going off storyboard on the day, but that is a choice that you can make on the day rather than being forced to make it up as you go along, which if you haven't done a storyboard. So what I've done for this most recent project is I worked through a storyboard with the actual band. I got them, they had the vision for this music video, so actually I got the lead singer of the band to create the storyboards so that I could understand their vision for the video, and from that storyboard I then created a shot list which captured every single frame that was on that storyboard, and I was able to think about it in a really logical way for what the locations would be, how many takes would be required, and all of that sort of stuff. So use a storyboard, create a shot list has helped me to become so much more efficient, planned and organised when it comes to filmmaking. So next up is to create a kit list. Now this might seem silly, but the week before any big project I will write a list of all of the equipment that I'm going to need. Some of it I might know about in advance, I might need to buy something, or I might need to hire something, or you know, borrow something from someone, but generally it's equipment that I already have. But just writing all of that equipment, you'd be amazed how it all stacks up, you know. Like tomorrow, I'm just one camera shoot that I'm doing tomorrow, but even then I've got my camera, my batteries, battery charger, laptop, card readers, cards, you know, tripods, the lights, everything. It soon racks up, and I just find it a really cathartic process to write everything that I need. So then the night before the shoot, so after I film this video, I'm going to be packing up everything ready for tomorrow, and I can just follow that kit list. And what's amazing is I wrote the list at the beginning of the week, and when I finished writing it, I was like, yes, that is everything. That's everything I need for Sunday. But actually, since finishing that list, there've been quite a few items which I've added on, which have been like, oh, of course, I totally forgot I'm going to need that mounting plate so I can put my camera on that different tripod, or oh, we're going to need some gaffer tape for this, that or the other. So I've kind of got my standard kit list, which I've just written a list of everything I have, and I can scan through that list and then pick off the items that I'm going to need for the video. And just looking at the equipment, thinking through, looking at the shot list, comparing the storyboards, it all just helps everything come together, and that little bit of time up front just saves so much time on the day of the shoot. So that's why I do that. And then finally, something which I've sort of started doing recently, which I personally do find it helpful, and that is to write a rough schedule. How long do you think things are going to take? How long have you got for the shoot? Like, you know, are you bound by time for the location that you're at? And so that's, you know, writing a schedule. Generally, I found that the schedule goes out the window, but when it goes out of the window and you've written a schedule, you know that you're behind. Whereas there's been other shoots in the past where I've been, you know, happily trying to get my lighting absolutely perfect and to, you know, let's do another take, when actually if I'd have known what the time was and where I was in regards to where I should be by that point in the day, I'd have probably been saying, okay, you know, this is good enough, because there's still a lot more shots that I need to get. So having a schedule, even if you stray from it, I have found to be really helpful. So that's it. Those are 4 things: storyboards, shot lists, kit list, and schedule. 4 things. I use like Google Docs, and I just create a document where I just work through all of those things. And you know, it takes a bit of time. It does add a little bit of planning time up front to a project, but on the day of filming, I find those things to be really helpful. And as I said earlier, I'm a bit of a worrier. I lie awake at night thinking, have I forgotten something? Is this going to work? Will that lens do the job? And going through this process just alleviates that worry, that risk, and makes for a much more smooth and professional film shoot on the day, whatever that project might be for you. So there's a few things that I have found make me a more efficient filmmaker. I'd love to know if you've got any thoughts, questions about this, then do drop me a comment down below. I'd love to hear from you. And yeah, I think that's it for this week. So really busy day tomorrow with the shoot. I'll probably let you know how I get on with the video, you know, once it's edited in the future. If you like this sort of thing, filmmaking, photography, my journey as I learn and improve as a filmmaker, then hit the subscribe on the channel and you'll get notified when I next upload a video. And other than that, I'll see you next time.